Again, a very warm welcome. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to all of you who are joining us. I see people are slowly stepping in after their lunch break in India, and we have all our speakers ready. We have a moderator ready for today's conversation. So, we have a lovely session that's going to get started, and it is Coaching the Need for Industry Regulation. And it's a panel discussion between Catherine Tano and Dr. Riza Kadila. And just to give a quick brief about both the speakers, and we have a moderator as well. Catherine is the chair of ICG Global Board 2021 and is the past president of ICF French chapter. She's also an executive coach, MCC, specialized in C-suites and executive coaching and organizational transformation. Co-founder of the digital platform We Lead Grow, and Catherine is here to represent ICF, and Dr. Kedelar, that is Dr. Riza Kedelar, is the president of EMCC Global, alumni of Stanford, HEC Paris, METU, and INSEAD. Dr. Kadelar has a PhD in media economics. His professional career includes senior level bank management in France, UK, Netherlands, and Turkey. He has published 5 books and is a columnist at Bloomberg Business Week, Turkey. And we have our very own Ujjwal, who is the moderator for today's panel discussion. He is a global executive leadership coach. He loves to be known as a systems thinker and theory-based change enabler. Loves experimenting with different coaching methods, family systems coaching, coaching for grassroots, rural entrepreneurs, consults the organizations for formulating coaching strategy, policy, and governance structure. Believes that now is the time for democratization of coaching. On that note, over to Dr. Riza, Catherine Tano, and Ujjwal on stage. Welcome aboard, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kulshum, and welcome Dr. Riza and Catherine. How are you?
Good.
Hello. We are feeling good. Hello, everyone. Nice to be with you today.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure to welcome you virtually to India and hope to see you physically also soon someday. And the topic today that we have is the need for industry regulation. So we are absolutely proud that Catherine representing ICF and Dr. Riza representing EMCC, both very, very respected organizations. And I would like to thank you on the behalf of coach community, the work that both the institutions have done so far to regulate coaching, to grow coaching, and also to stabilize and proliferate coaching. So thank you so much for that. Okay. So to begin our conversation, and of course the stage is completely yours, but I just wanted to set a frame. If we take a global perspective, that so Catherine, also I think Kulshum must have mentioned, but Catherine, I also recognize you as one of the leading professors of leadership at the most prestigious school like HEC Paris. So we were discussing the other day, and I remember you saying that the leaders in post COVID world at least need to be sustainable, purposeful, and compassionate, right? So I thought
Yes.
like they are the coaching competencies, so in some way coaching traits. So, and also at global level, now we are seeing the needs for everybody is talking about ESG, which is environmental, social, and governance. So, governance seems to be the main motto, main frame for even organization to be successful. And also happy to have Dr. Riza, who is also a business columnist and also a prolific writer there. So, I wanted to invite both of you to share that. So word regulation may appear to be something like controlling kind of a word, but I know it has a bigger implication. So maybe from merging both the words regulation and governance, how would you like to tell us about what EMCC is doing, ICF is doing for coaches, And also, we will talk about the consumers, who are the customers, who are the clients going forward. But maybe a little bigger picture, if you'd like to paint for us, uh, our participants and I personally would be grateful.
Thank
Catherine?
you. Yes, I can start. Thank you for this nice introduction. Actually, yes, sustainable, purposeful, and compassionate leadership is one of my favorite topics, as well as ethical and professional coaching. I think when you are talking about regulation or self-regulation, to be more precise, and we will discuss that later, what resonates is ethics, is professionalism, is competency, is boundary management, good governance, at the end of the day, providing a sustainable environment at large. Then maybe I give the floor to Dr. Riza, and then I can comment what ICF is doing later, just on the big
Sure,
picture.
sure, Catherine.
Catherine, thanks. Actually, we are among friends here. So among people who know about coaching. And it's kind of, there are two major things at EMCC we are trying to see in this, myself personally as well. Coaching is one of the most fragmented industries I've ever seen. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a way to claim. And we base most of our practices on psychological schools, which are also very pragmatic in their own way, and which doesn't really help. So that's why regulation is a minefield. And I never use the word regulation. Self-regulation is a different issue, but regulation, and it's coming. So we have seen in many countries, I'm talking mainly in Europe, the governments are stepping in order to protect the buyer, in order to ensure the quality. They would like to do something. But at the end of the day, ICF, EMCC, for example, our purpose statement, we exist to set the expectations, to promote and to develop the best standards for the benefit of the society. So we are already there, but the problem, despite some efforts in the past, the industry is so fragmented, we can't really come together as a one voice to self-regulate or claim to self-regulate. In the past, we pledged a charter with European Commission as a self-regulating profession, and then major professional bodies, including ICF, joined us. But we're going to go into more detail. Over time, we couldn't really build enough on this initiative. So the big question about self-regulation, how to do it, it's still, we are a very premature, I would say. I have my ideas, I have my suggestions, and I'm happy
Yeah.
to say our experience at EMCC, ICF, but also other leading coaching organizations in different parts of the world. But I think the core issue here, we don't want government to regulate. We want self-regulation. But in order to do self-regulation, we have to find a way to recognize each other, come together and work together so that we can have a unified, even though we keep our distance or differences, because that's the richness, that's the diversity, but still the profession needs one major step to get a better dialogue, internally better dialogue, to be able to collaborate in this very important area. It's an introduction.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Just to echo what you said about the charter, because 10 years ago, actually, we were quite pioneer with you co-signing this charter, where then SF Coach, French Association for Coaching, and AC, the UK ones, join. And I do think the chapters of this, I was just reviewing them, they are completely up to date. We just need maybe to make it more vibrant and lively. And I do think also to frame a bit our discussion that a part of what each federation, association can do, we have the privilege and the duty to also educate our markets, educate our coaches, to embody and represent better competence, ethics, boundary management, integrity, professionalism, and also the client. and the market to recognize this. So I think part of the discussion is also the co-responsibility and what we are aiming in fostering the dialogue between us, and I'm really happy we are here together, is the professional body will be a stakeholder in this conversation, but not only. We want also the coaches and the markets being a part of the conversation, and for sure the state or the government could have a voice, but we don't want them to be the regulators. So we can obviously go deeper in all these topics.
If you allow me, maybe I can just continue. Sorry, if you have
Go
any
ahead.
questions, please. Just based on the same issue. Yeah, this charter 10 years ago, it's very simple. It says very simple thing. There should be a proper, suitable training. We all accept. Then it should be based on a set of competencies. Yeah, we have different sets of competencies, but we do have research-based, backed competencies. Perfect. Then continuous professional development. So we all seek that in order to have a kind of self-regulated. We need to have that. And then we talk about supervision, because supervision is any other profession which touches any human being. We need to have a systematic approach. And then the last thing is the joint code of ethics. Today, there are 9 co-signatories of the code of ethics we initiated together with ICF, but ICF quit. So we would really like to see ICF to come back, to look and to find a way. We are ready. We are doing the version 3 now, for example. It's a consultation. Every single 9 organization has a say. It takes time, but at the end of the day, we create something consensus-based building, and would be nice. A similar thing, the recognizing each other. For example, in order to reach self-regulation, we are what? I say 50,000, we are 10,000. Out of North America, we are almost equal size in Europe or whatever. But guess what? There are other, maybe tens of hundreds of thousands of people who claim or tell them as a coach, but they are not part of any one of us. So in order to really reach out and to represent the community, we need to really recognize each other's competency frameworks or accreditations. And we did. We have fast track for AC, for ICF, and we are ready to do it for other organizations as well. Because at the end of the day, it's not, sorry to say this, but not rocket science. It takes one day to learn it, but a lifetime to practice it. It's a mastery. So that's why in the basics, I believe we can really create a joint force, effort, voice, in order to really reach out to these millions of companies and billions of people who need that. Since I joined the board, because EMCC is a voluntary organization, we don't have any paid staff, so we are all volunteers. At the end of the day, I find a passion here, and this passion to really democratize coaching, not only coaching but also coach training. I believe 8 billion people deserve to have a proper coach training. They should learn about it. So it shouldn't be a kind of privileged service for privileged people. But in order to reach there, I'm a volunteer. I don't say the business angle. But as a volunteer, I see this like a missionary that we got to do something. And I'm so grateful to Catherine to be here. I'm so grateful to ICF, the India Conclave, to organize this organization. So
Sure.
nice to talk. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. I
Yes.
echo your words, and that resonates. I'm a volunteer too, and I'm passionate about my coaching profession. And I know that my colleagues are. We are so committed to this profession, and it deserves to have a bigger, greater agreements between the main federation. Just to give a bit of hope of that, since the charter that is now quite long ago, ICF have completely renewed its own structure with a new family organization, reshaping the code of ethics. So I would say that now we are ready ourselves to start again the discussion. You know what we say: you need to do your own housekeeping before you enter in a sharing with others. And the second thing is that even if in countries we are challenged by government for regulation, we still can do many things. Example is the country I know best, which is France. Even if I'm not now staying in France for the most of the time, that where we had a common, very robust agreement between EMCC, ICF, and 3 other coaching federations to present a common code of ethics, a common competency model for the government, Ministry of Labor, approving coaching as a true profession and giving a code for that among the HR profession. So I think that's just a case. It will be different in any geography, but the fact that actually, yes, we have a responsibility together, along with our volunteer leaders, and in ICF we have personnel, we have staff, we have permanent staff to move this forward. And let's maybe have a look on the market, but I think it is really the momentum. Maybe
just to support. Previously, I was president of EMCC Turkey, and we pledged a charter with the government, and the profession is recognized as published in the official gazette. And at that time, we worked so closely with ICF, AC, and a local organization. Last year in Hungary, we had a crisis building up. Again, all organizations worked together. Few years ago in Portugal, similar thing happened. All organizations worked together. So I can give you many examples of all, because we are all at the end of the day coaches, okay? So despite any tiny bits and pieces of differences that we can claim in our methodologies or approach, at the end of the day, we do believe in the same big picture. So that's why there are wonderful examples of collaboration. And this collaboration should really seek for self-regulation. I'm not against governments, okay? So
no.
In a way, maybe I am. So it's a critical topic. I don't want to maybe go there. But the thing is that you can't regulate something that you don't really master. If you ask me today, if I have the full power to regulate coaching, I wouldn't do it. Because I don't see myself entitled to do it. I think nobody should. It should be a concerted, collaborative effort. So it should be all together, a consensus-built effort. So then maybe we can really claim that we have a full, real profession.
Agreed.
Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful. So if I may, pick up from there and check back with you that currently, if we talk about, say, current reality, so currently people who are going for ICF credentials, going for EMCC credentials, and so if I am a client, okay, I'm a buyer of coaching services. Okay, what are some of those things that, say, an ACC, PCC, or MCC credential holder, or for EMCC it is SP or MP kind of those titles that I have. So as a layman, maybe many a times coaches who are undergoing these certifications are also not very clear that if I am PCC, what does it mean? What does it carry? So would both of you like to throw some light on that? What is it that it conveys to a buyer of coaching services, that if I am a PCC or ACC or MCC or SP or MP, from both the institutions, uh, what all have been regulated in terms of the training, the competencies, like ICF has come up with new competencies, framework, team coaching competencies, and I heard Catherine, you can confirm that even the coaching supervision competencies are in the making. So we are constantly reinventing ourselves on that, right? So what all that promise we can give in a way from ICF or EMCC credential holder to the buyer of coaching services? Before I come to coaches, okay, that is bit of a area to discuss. But before that, if we go to the consumer of our services, what are the competence that we can say regulated way, in a very softer way or a very precise way? So happy to hear your views.
Let me maybe stepping back a bit with an overview of what is look like today in terms of market, what we call market confusion. ICF has done one of the biggest study with 22,000 respondents everywhere in the world, not only ICF, but coaches, HR, manager, leaders. And the big obstacle is still the market confusion. So what you said, that the clients, the market, either private, public sector, NGO, any buyer, individual buyers of coaching, they don't really know what is happening. So they are facing untrained individuals, which is one of the first obstacles that has been seen. They are confused about what coaching can bring in terms of benefit. We obviously, those who are developing a strong coaching culture knows, but the other don't. And they are confusing coaching with many other things, counseling, advisory, consultant, whatever. And so that's really a very important need. And maybe the reason why even the coaches themselves are claiming that now almost 60% of the respondents are saying that the coaching should be self-regulated, and 83% said that it has to be regulated by professional body and association in a joint effort, not by government, not by coach practitioners themselves. So saying that, I do think that the client, the market education and the market clarification is part of a common responsibility. For me, I would just be simple and let Dr. Riza complete, because we have the same kind of training paths, credentialing paths. We have differences, but the spirit is the same. First of all, is the coach properly trained? Properly trained means that he has not been trained over the weekend watching video. We are in a behavioral profession, so you need to train by practicing, by failing, by making mistake, by receiving feedback, and it is not overnight that you get the coach. So is the coach properly trained first? Second, does the coach have a knowledge of the context, and does he or she have enough practice in a field? So the most of the credentialing paths we have, and I can surely talk about ICF, are recognizing, as in the airplane pilot, the number of hours you have been coaching truly in the field with clients. And I would say last but not least, and we can develop, if the coach belongs to a community, a professional community, a professional body, a professional association, a community of practice. Is he supervised? Is he constantly increasing his own competence? Because the coach is the tool. So if he's not maintaining and growing the tool, he will not stay as a professional. So that will be my fourth point. And I let the floor to you, Dr. Riza.
Thank you. Actually, it was a very loaded question. So I'm going to just repeat some of the things I heard. For example, EMCC's one of the pillars is inclusion, which means we are inclusive to all other professional bodies. So as long as you are accredited, and we don't use the word credential, we use accreditation. I'm going to come back to this. There is a reason for that. And as long as you are accredited by any other professional body, we do have this fast track because we do recognize the work done by others, as I said before. This credential accreditation, coaching is a young profession. I understand that. And our predecessors came with a big claim to create a kind of captive marketplace in order to justify. But we are not living in isolation. In the whole world, there is this Bologna principles, higher education framework principles, and then UNICEF lifelong learning principles. So what we did 3-4 years ago, just around the time when I became president, we changed our approach to training accreditation. We aligned all of our processes. Already, it was already inclusive, but we already aligned everything with higher education framework and with lifelong learning principles, global. And we embedded the micro-credentials formulation in our accreditation, which means we are not the authority who will tell you how to teach coaching. So we are not prescriptive, but we are here to make it sure that all learning takes place in the most modern, as accepted in the world. One of the biggest problems in today's markets is labor market flexibility. If we don't have these micro-credentials global, it's going to backfire one day. So what we did, we aligned all this methodology. We asked for external verification. We asked for third-party quality assurance. We make it sure that, our accredited providers, we call them providers, training providers, they do embed all the principles of, as I mentioned before, in their processes, which means at the end of the day, they are entitled to grant individual accreditations. Very different than the past. In ICF, you gotta go back to ICF to get your accreditation. In our case, for the last 3 years, your provider accredited you. So if you attain a senior practitioner level course, this senior practitioner provider is entitled to also issue the accreditation, because we embed all accreditation in the training program. And this is true for our 400 training providers all over the world, including big companies. I don't want to mention the names here, but all the big names that you will hear from finance, from pharmaceutical, from the professional services consultancy world, they do have leadership development programs. And in their leadership development programs, they have a coaching module. And they would like to make sure that their coaching module is adhering to best standards in the world. In the past, they would come us and we will tell them, yeah, you do it right, you do it wrong. It's a kind of authority. I'm okay, you're not okay. We changed it. We are okay, they're okay. As long as they really stick to our procedures, the methodologies, we entitle them, we give them the authority to also act as if like they are. So which brings an amazing momentum. Our reach has increased exponentially all over the world, especially in the business world, because if you're a provider, why would you like, because if you're a university, the universities train you, test you, and give you your diploma. Why on earth in a profession like coaching, you have to get training from somewhere, you have to get your title from somewhere, you have to, we combine them all. Maybe that's one of the differences that we see between the professional bodies today, which was a brave movement. We did it first, then we tested, we did again a test, we piloted, and now we rolled it over to everywhere. Second thing, reinventing. I like this word. You said the reinventing. Yeah, why do we reinvent? That's my point. Supervision. We have already the framework for supervision competencies. It's tested, piloted, and rolled out all over the world. The same thing, team coaching. We did 3 years ago a 500 people survey all over the world, and we came up with some standards. We tested them with one major global provider and 2 UK universities. Results are great. We're now rolling it out. I don't know why we don't have the communication between professional bodies, and we try to reinvent. Of course, somebody will do it better, I'm sure, but why to create another fragmented industry in another area? I'm all here ready to collaborate. That's my position. The last thing is buyers. Yeah. We work with CIPD, we work with many other organizations. ICF is doing a great job. We need to train and support the buyers. I'm a banker. I used to work for banks. And whenever I want to buy something, I give the metrics, I pass it to the purchasing department, and they buy it. Okay, so I don't buy my pencils or computers or whatever. There's a department who is in charge of purchasing, procurement. In coaching, how can you ask the procurement department to do it for you? You can't. Then the person who makes the decision carries an amazing risk. If a coach comes in and creates a mess, the person who makes the decision is really under pressure. So we need to help those people. The best way to help them is to train them, to let them learn about coaching, let them have their accreditation. And we're doing a great job there. All the HR world in the world, they are very close to coaching world now, and things are progressing very nicely. But we need to do that more. We need to reach out to procurement departments. We need to reach out to purchasing departments, because unless they feel secure, they don't have metrics, they will be under risk. And why would you put your beloved counterparty under risk? So I think there's something to be done in that area as well.
Yeah, for sure. Let me just answer on the few on quite big difference, because we do both actually. We are accrediting, so we are using two different words as you mentioned. We are accrediting schools or university or coaching trainers provider, including company, university, company programs. So they have been recognized as training provider, whether they are training provider for fundamentals, essentials of coaching, or advanced and professional coaching. So it's like the driving license. We have a certain numbers, and we have quite a lot worldwide. We have 2,000 accredited coaching programs, professional coaching programs worldwide, and this is increasing among other, because companies are providing now coaching skills within leadership programs, and they get ICF accreditation. What we do then is that we differentiate the school. You have been getting the driving license with the fact that you are a good driver. So we do think that is two things different. So you can have been trained properly and we accredited with an accredited school or university or whatever, and then you have to show in the time you still are a good professional in terms of behavior, in terms of impact, in terms of following ethical code of conduct, and so on and so forth. So I do think it is not contradictory with what you do. It's just a bit different, and it's a different approach with two levels. Last but not least, I do think that the partnership with other bodies, such as Association for Talent Development, Charm, Society for HR Worldwide, VIAL, which is Action Learning International Institute, or International Association for Facilitation. So we have around us, around the pure coaching bodies, other body that are working with companies, that are working with approach that are not coaching, but that are could be bridged with coaching. Change management is another example. So we are working on this field, always trying to make sure that coaching is clearly defined with respect to the profession to avoid market confusion. The value added is clearly stated, and if bridges could be possible, yes, of course, we will be working on bridging the different profession. Last but not least, in the new structure that ICF has launched last year, we have created this coaching in organization branch, which is dedicated to organization. Because what we observed in the last meaningful studies we have been doing is that this is an increasing area. As you mentioned, leadership skills are including coaching skills in most of the big, at least a big corporation, and nowadays also local ones. I'm seeing that with my private business, that many companies are seeing coaching as a key skill for leaders for today and maybe even more for tomorrow. So we surely need to accompany this world to get professional and to get credentialed or accredited if needed. Trusting, and I like your inclusiveness, and for sure we also want to be inclusive with more than, I think that we are reaching 47,000 members in 148 countries. So we do not only want, but we are inclusive and diverse, and for sure this is the next challenge, to make sure that we make this diversity vibrant and live for long. And sustainable.
Okay. I think wonderful expressions by both of you. Thank you so much for sharing what you have shared. So one thing, which is quite a scary word, what you used about, Dr. Riza said that why, coaching services is identified or finalized by somebody from procurement department. Okay, so only one thing that they know procurement department is to call and negotiate on rates. So I hope we will come up with some negotiation skills and influencing skills training program for coaches, so that they can defend themselves from the hard negotiations from the procurement department. Okay, so Yeah, and something on what both of you have mentioned, I wanted to pick up and fast forward that with your permission. That you, like you mentioned about 47,000 ICF, I mean EMCCS 10,000 plus, and some of the other bodies. So maybe globally we may have about 100,000 coaches who are somewhere either accredited or either credentialed with some bodies. Okay, now the challenge that we initially spoke about, the buyers. Now, so in India, many coaches speak with me, and when they want to sign up for any coaching program, they call up and check that are there more coaches than the clients, because everybody in the neighborhood somewhere is conducting associating themselves with some coach training. Okay, so what we have been observing is that there are many programs which, say if I talk about in ICF parlance, so some programs are like CCE programs, like which is continuing coach education. So people offer 12 hours, 24 hours program, and also in some of the online platforms. Okay, I was astonished to see that you attend 3 hours program on a very famous online learning platform, which is a MOOC platform, and you attend 3 hours program. At the end of it, you get a certificate, certified transformational life coach. Okay, and people flaunt that on professional networks like LinkedIn. So everybody seem to be issuing certified coach kind of a certificate, or all of those, even who are running CCE programs. So people flaunt these certificates and they enter in the market with the name of a coach. So is there a way that would you think that how going forward, so first we take the present perspective, and then going forward, how do you see this coach training or credentialing or accreditation is taking place going forward in post COVID era?
That's, if I may start, that's a very
Sure.
tricky point, Ujwar.
Yeah.
If I may repeat what I heard, on one hand, we believe in democratization,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, we want to keep something more privileged. Our goal is to create value, but value for coaches or coach training providers or for the end user buyers, to all,
Yeah.
of course.
Mm-hmm.
I should really congratulate ICF. They are doing an amazing job in every front. So their contribution to profession is great. So that's for sure. We are doing our best. We try to do, in different areas to be the trailblazers, to make it sure that more people are aware, more collaboration with big decision makers or whatever. But at the end of the day, we are minuscule. We are tiny. We are nothing. What, 100,000 coaches? It's nothing. Any platform has a billion user. We are nothing. And let me tell you, have you met with a company called Visa? It's an Indian company. They provide online coaching, machine learning in the backyard. The last time I checked, it was more than 500,000 people using it. LinkedIn is offering accreditation now. Degreed, I don't know whether you know Degreed, but they have an algorithm to provide you the accreditation for any profession, including coaching and mentoring in our case. So, guys, we are fooling ourselves. Today, we enjoy the privileged market we created for ourselves. And in some countries, coach training is even bigger market than coaching, which is a
Yes.
big problem. And maybe it is not, because my big claim in our accreditation approach, we have a foundation level, which is the one lower than ACC. ICFS 3, we have 4, and we have one under everything, because we claim any profession, irrespective of anything, in today's world, they need to have the coaching skills. For example, I can give you an example. The London Metropolitan Police, they have a leadership program accredited by us. So every single London Metropolitan Police, they have a certificate now, foundation level, bearing my signature, that they have the basics of the coaching skills, okay? So any profession today, the New Zealand Royal Air Force, the same example. So you can go to any marketplace. We need to reach out. For me, it's not about policing or, as I said, we even change our accreditation approach. As long as they stick to the procedures aligned with the higher education framework and lifelong learning framework. As long as they provide external verification, they provide third-party quality assurance, they show us how they reach their goal, documented. But then at the end of the day, everybody has to find their own place in the marketplace and to justify what they do. I believe in the markets. But we are minuscule, and we still try to create value with such a small market. If we don't act today, in 5-10 years time, we may end up having bots replacing us. We may have the big platforms replacing all the professional bodies. So everybody has different angles. As a practitioner, I have a different concern. I have a professional body, I have a different concern. But we got to be careful in what we do. That's why I invite everyone to come together. And why don't we really join forces with LinkedIn in order to let them do things properly, rather than Facebook suddenly tomorrow. I think they already introduced a mentoring algorithm in their program. Nobody will hear our voice. Nobody will even notice us once these big guys jump into this marketplace. That's my point of view.
Thank you for that. I was smiling because it completely echoes in just after this panel discussion. I will join my global board of ICF professional coaches, and we are discussing actually the future of coaching and the next 5 years strategic plan. So I can really echo what you said. Let me just answer on the first part of the question. The market. For me, the market is not the issue. How many people do you have in India? How many business people do you have in India? How many vibrant and growing business do you have? Accepting the time of pandemics, we know that you have been passing our time. So how many coaches do you have? 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, whatever, it's nothing. So if we believe that coaching is a true profession, that coaching is bringing value and benefits, that there is a ROI and ROE, return on investment, return on expectation for coaching, that's not a market problem. That the point is how the market gets educated to be properly using the coaching and creating value. I fully believe in the value creation. And if coaches stop creating value, they will disappear. If they really create value, if they really showcase why the coaching works, why coaching can really help support leadership development, employee development, company growth, creating a more sustainable and diverse and inclusive world and environment, contributing in pro bono initiatives. So coaching can be used in so many professions. And coaching skills, as you said, Dr. Riza, and coaching skills are key for many places around the world. Healthcare. I can give many examples of healthcare department, healthcare companies either in UK, in States, in Europe, and maybe elsewhere. Companies like IKEA that is claiming to offer coaching to every single employee that wanted it. So it may be not yet arrived in India, but we are completely confident that the point of the market is not the key point for the coaches. Let's just see that coaching has been growing substantially in the past 10 years. Even though we are still very tiny. Second thing, that business coaching is now seen as almost 60% of the coaching market, while life coaching was at that stage 10, 15 years ago. So this is also a shift of coaching now is being bought and used by companies. And last but not least, the platforms, as you said, and really the words you mentioned echoes with mine. They are attracting investments. And why investment funds are entering in this market? They put $100 million in a platform I will not mention, but some of you might know, because they believe and they bet that coaching will bring a lot of value in the next year. So it's up to you together and I do believe in the dialogue between coaching federation, between coaching bodies, between all the stakeholders involved. We need to create a sustainable environment for coaches and for clients and for the society, because coaching has also a lot to give to the coaching, to the society, the civil society.
So being aware of time, let me just add one thing, if I may. It looks like the future for coaches and for professional bodies can be a bit, threatening. We got to be careful. There are challenges, but I think the future of coaching is bright.
Wow.
Coaching doesn't belong to coaches. Coaching doesn't belong to professional bodies. Coaching belongs to humanity. And that's why I truly believe in the future of coaching. One way or another, maybe we will at the end of the day make ourselves redundant, as long as the end result is something that's useful and good for the society, for not only for society, for the whole planet Earth. We need harmony.
I love your words.
Absolutely brilliant. And Dr. Riza, you gave me one new business idea, because in India, everybody in company, in organizations, they are talking about one program, which is manager as a coach. I got a new idea, police as a coach. Okay, so from London. Okay, so I think that's
we need to talk. We have a good example in ICF with the police station in the Emirates, Middle East. So we have very good example. Yeah, and it makes a difference also in the term of the behavior in the civil society. So I really like the coaching for humanity and sustainable planet. Would be the next challenge for us.
Okay, sure, absolutely. Okay, great, wonderful. And I'm having some questions in the Q&A chat box, if I can ask you with your permission. So we have Haripriya, who is asking that what is your recommendation of introducing coaching conversations to school students from, say, early teenage, 14, 15 years onwards?
Let's say that the next generation, the Gen Z, are arriving on the marketplace. But the future, the true future of humanity will be those young that are still at school now, the future generation. And let's educate them as early as we can, because if we really believe that coaching can bring value, not only to companies, not only to people, to society, to our world, why not? Let's start conversation as soon as possible about coaching. And I can just an example. I can just mention that in some countries, young people that wants to be animator of holidays for younger are trained in behavioral skills, including coaching already.
Okay. Sure. There's another. Yeah, Dr. Riza, you wanted to share something?
Yes, please. Yeah, yes, please. So, maybe you've seen the Social Dilemma, the Netflix documentary. Very boring, but with a big claim.
Yeah.
I think at this age group, and at any age group, I think one of the biggest challenge is all the inner conflicts.
Yeah.
And all the feeling of not being enough. And the poet Sufi Mevlana says, why do you choose to put yourself in a prison in the abundance of the universe? I think that's a good summary of coaching. So there's always a third way. Whenever they say either or, especially, I have also a daughter, teenager, she is now 18, but we've been through this period. Whenever you say either or, believe me, there's a third way. And in order to go to this third way, first, you need to understand yourself. You need to listen to your inner voice. You need to understand your inner conflicts. And I think this is a way to introduce coaching in that age group.
Yeah. So instead of third wave, let's talk about third way, right? Yeah. Okay. There is another beautiful question from Vinita. Vinita seems to be having, blazing guns of with questions today. So one of them is, she's asking, isn't there a need to do a social service or societal service to get credentialed rather than just adding number of hours?
In our application, there is, but I don't know the ICF. I'm not accredited by
Okay.
ICF. But in our
Yes,
case, yes.
there is also a percentage of pro bono volunteer hours or service, but that's a brilliant idea. I think we can do more. We can do even more.
If I may add, is a philosophy of our accreditation. Rather than what you did, we ask, what would you do with it? So we base everything on the reflective practice. So that's why number of hours can come from anywhere, but it's irrelevant. It's all about what would you do with your learning?
Yeah.
How are you a different person after this experience? So we put our focus there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Another question from Vinita is that is there a way that we can create awareness of coaching as grassroots level? Because in India, it more seems to be the matter of elite and people who can afford. But how do we go at the grassroots?
My recommendation is just do it, like doing any occasion to do pro bono coaching for associations, for NGO, for social goods, for greater good, for your community. It's always, each case is a case, and if you bring value and meanings, it will be seen. So it is not in a day, but it's a long life work. If you believe, you do, and it will come.
I would say technology. It's all about cost, efficiency, and reach. For example, with the pandemics, I put forward a new program, my own program, online, accredited, and now getting the ICF, CCU, and everything. But we have already more than 300 graduates from this program, fully online. But we use Canvas as the all Ivy League universities in US. I already also finished those like online learnings from the major universities. And we basically do everything in the online. When you do it online, the cost is nothing. So, and then when the cost is disappeared, anyone who has a smartphone can have access to proper coach training. And this is democratization of coaching. It's not about giving
Yeah.
pro bono coaching to people who need it or whatever. That was the past. Today, we need to use technology in a proper way because you can do peer review, you can do all the reflective studies, you can do triads, you can do everything you like online. And
Wow.
my graduates are from 15 different countries, even though this is just a Turkish program, okay? I'm sure technology is the solution. Grassroots, yeah, just get rid of the cost. Then I believe your market will grow.
Okay.
And you can do both. And you can do both because you can do coaching online, either pro bono or paid. And India is very well positioned with online and technology-driven coaching. I think it's among the best countries in our study. So you have
Sure.
everything.
And I think there is a question from Sharifa. She has joined us from Malaysia. She wants to know that as we go forward, if we little gaze into the future, then how do you see ICF and EMCC coming together, like with other professional bodies, to create the future of coaching that we desire?
We are already together. We have the Global Alliance for Coaching, where the
Hmm.
three leaders of these organizations are regularly talk. And
Hmm.
there is no lack of communication in terms of like dialogue. As you see, we are here together. I've been with Magda in other many conferences last year,
Yeah.
and we openly talk. And as you see, the way we talk, it shows that there's a dialogue and we come together. And in many
Great.
countries, we do so many good efforts together. But fundamentally, there are things to be improved. So that's my. Please don't misunderstand me. We already achieved a lot, but there's a last mile that will make even a bigger difference. So that's why we are already kind of together, and we don't have to kind of we believe in the diversity, bringing the richness. We learn
Hmm.
a lot from each other. Having 1, 2, 3 organization is nothing compared to the vast, big world out there. and we do have dialogue. So yeah, but it should be better.
Yeah, we sure will continue the dialogue, and why not building the United Nations of coaching, because that will be the next step to make all the professional bodies, and not only, because I really believe that we need to have many other stakeholders around the table if we want really to shape the future.
Yes. Sure. So there is another question on that, brilliantly put by both of you. That do you think that there is a need to integrate coaching with United Nations SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals? So is there something that you think that as bodies we need to do that?
Well,
as long as sorry, Catherine, please
no,
go.
go
Yeah,
ahead,
sorry.
go ahead, please.
No, my answer is very. There are all those things. I know ICF did a statement on the Black Lives Matter, and now we have this joint effort on sustainability. And you know, we always say, where were the coaches when the banks were burning in 2009? So you can, on one hand, put all the responsibility on the coaches, but at the same time, this is very counterproductive and against the main principle of coaching, being non-judgmental. So that's why it's a very tricky area. And I truly believe if we stick to our core competencies, core principles, core code of ethics, we are already there. We're serving a lot, a big time, these UN goals. That's my point of view.
Yeah. Okay. And I would say, let's just having a few of them. I don't know the 17 by memory, but among them, I know that they have good health and well-being, sustainable cities and community, responsible consumption and production, and so on and so forth. Click at SDG and you will find all. But I would say coaching is transversal to all these SDG. And I agree with what you said just before, that we just need to be really on our professionalism and the value we'll be bringing transversally. So we will contribute to many of them. Quality education, yes. Gender equality, I'm opening them, and so
Yeah. Okay, there is this last question. I'm also mindful of your valuable time from Puneet, who would like to ask that, you know, what are we doing as EMCC and ICF to raise the awareness of coaching, in the sense that for a greater good, for public awareness, that how can we educate the mass market or common people that how coaching is more beneficial, so that so there are more coaches, but how can we also create market for coaching?
But again, there are two questions. So it's always tricky, your questions. Yeah, on one hand, ICF is doing a great job. We are doing our best. For example, we have a program, Ethical Coaching Africa, reaching out almost 5 million kids over there. We have another program, Impact Before Income, again in Africa, reaching out tens of thousands of coaches and the people in the community, again in some countries in Africa. We do have joint efforts with like PWN globally. We do provide, we also have the mentoring hat. So we do a lot of mentoring kind of approach. Our definition of mentoring is pretty different than the ICF. So that's why I don't want to go there. But all put together, we are doing, I think, our best. And Catherine give even better examples with ICF, efforts in order to make coaching visible. But the second part of the question, how help you guys to make more money? Yeah, that's a tricky one.
Yeah, let me just complete. Yes, in terms of what we are doing, as you said, we are doing many things, and the foundation, ICF Foundation, has reached over 10 or 12 billion lives with the Ignite and NGO initiatives. A part of that, we are absolutely participating in many conclave conference action towards government leaders, institution to make coaching recognized as a value added to the world. But your business, I agree, that's a different question. But I've always been thinking, and I'm an entrepreneur myself. As an entrepreneur, you just believe that everything is possible. and why young entrepreneurs are successful, because they are not seeing the bad news, they are just seeing the opportunities. So my invitation as a conclusion is really see the opportunities around you, and they will appear. And be confident, trust you, trust the coaching, trust your environment, and just do it. Take steps.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, and coaching is all about taking those micro steps in the journey of towards the direction of your goal. So thank you, both of you. Absolutely a pleasure. On behalf of ICF India Conclave, would like to express our gratitude to you. Thank you, Kulsham, for everything, and thank you everyone for attending. It was a pleasure meeting everyone today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you for inviting. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye
Most
bye.
welcome.
Have a good day.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.